All right, so I'm about to do a chart. It's not a reading, but it's just more of a tutorial using a real person chart. They have given me permission to use their chart to highlight a very specific, unique circumstance where they have 5 planets in their third house with their north node. And I do have a video where I address what happens or why might some people have so many planets near their north node. So if you want to go to that timestamp and start looking, go ahead, but this is not going to take that long. So what I did here was this. I simplified this to only talk about what do the planets do when we are talking about career. Okay? Because here's the reality. We know that there are certain planets that are more connected to how we make our money, right? Venus, how do we make our money? Saturn, our achievement, things of that nature. However, what we also want to think about is the fact that the planets bring their energy to any house or any topic, right? So even if we are talking about career and we have the 10th house, right? If we look at the 10th house, no matter what planet is there, we have to interpret it. So this slide in particular is only my interpretation of what the planets mean when we are addressing career, okay? So, for instance, the sun. So if a person is only focusing on the career question, sun is where you will shine and feel the most natural accepting attention. So even people who are introverted, even people who are reserved or shy, they probably feel confident about something, okay? And so the sun's position can help us see that. The moon, what you care about, what motivates you. Okay, so we can see, when we look at someone's moon sign, it helps us see why someone might be in a certain field, right? Venus is going to show what you value and how you will want to make your money, right? Jupiter, what might come with ease. Saturn is going to be what you're willing to work hard for or what you've had to overcome in order to get to a certain place. Mars, we can look at someone's Mars placement that helps us see how they are in a career or how they are in work. Does the person kind of move with a lot of fervor and action, or does the person a little bit more gentle, calm, need a more relaxed or more less intense environment? Especially, we could also look if someone's Mars is conjunct their midheaven. Also, the North Node. Now, the North Node does not have to do with career for every person, but for some people, you will tend to see that overlap where it starts to, in some way, it merges into their career. Especially people who have their North Node, in any way close. Well, it's always, in some aspects, for some people, it's going to be important if it is close to the midheaven. So if your North Node is close to your midheaven, or your midheaven is in the 9th house, it's making that aspect to the 9th more specifically than the 10th house, it's going to be your career. And that's something you should focus on. All right. And then, of course, the midheaven, we have to look there. The public image, your career image is going to be a place, right? And so, but check out with this particular chart how I approach looking at this particular person's question when it comes to career choices. Okay, so this video is going to be helpful for anyone who wants to know more about how to look at career through a chart. And this is a real chart. This is a real person's chart, but for privacy reasons, I will not be sharing their name, their date of birth. Obviously you can see their sun is in Capricorn, but I'm not going to be sharing like the year, or where they were born or anything like that. For, privacy purposes, I will mention one thing because it is about her career. Okay. And so this is not a reading per se, because I'm only going to be focusing on this particular question. And the reason I'm doing this is because this person has an anomaly in their chart. And I think this can kind of help some of you who, if you saw my stellium video or you've seen my north node video, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is a person who has a lot of energy in one house. So a lot of energy is going to be diverted here. So she has to make sure that she really uses it productively in a way where it doesn't overpower everything, but it is used to fuel everything else in her chart. And we also see the example of what I talked about in the North Node video, where some people have help. They have help, right? Their North Node purpose has all of these other planets near. And I'll talk in a moment why I think some people have this. Now, you might be looking, if you are an astrologer, if you're someone who's been looking at charts, and you're like, wait, why does this 0 degrees, what's going on? Yes, the houses do not have any degrees on them. This particular person uses whole signs, obviously, and this person also uses sidereal. So I'm using the Fagan Allen in sidereal. So if you're, most of us, I use tropical most of the time. However, this person said, can you use my sidereal placements because I really resonate with those. So she said that. So I'm going to interpret it based on what she resonates with. So that's the only thing. I'm not going to interpret it using sidereal or Vedic strategies. I'm using the strategies I use through obviously modern Western astrology, but I'm simply using these placements. Just be clear, if anyone's like, wait, why does this look like this? Yes, so we're using what she resonates with. So when we look at this, the first thing I would look at, so we're looking at career, right? The first thing you're always going to want to look at in general, no matter what is going on, of course we can say we're going to look at that 6th house and that 10th house. And that her 10th house happens to have her midheaven in it. So you guys know that your midheaven, even though it's on the cusp of the 10th house, for some people the midheaven is actually in the 9th house. Or it is in the 10th house for some people. Or for some people, it's actually in the 11th house. Yes, some people's charts, when you do it whole signs especially is going to assign your midheaven to one of these houses at the top. And that's going to help you further see is your career more 9th house, where it's like personal journey, discovery that you have to make through personal journeys and ascending to more of your own knowledge, finding your own knowledge through experience. It's at the 10th house, more procedural, more a person who does have to climb the ladder type of energy, or the 11th house through your associations, your groups, and your networks. Okay, and so I really want to start with the fact that her chart ruler is Venus because of this Libra ascendant. So I'm not even going to start yet with the sun. We already know with sun in Capricorn, okay, we're definitely going to have a person who is concerned with career. So it's only fitting that a Capricorn sun, again using sidereal, a Capricorn sun energy person would want to know about their career. Okay, now a lot of people do, but some people actually want different things out of when they, are looking into certain readings and things of that nature. And so, again, so she's, allowing me to use her chart as an example of what I'm talking about in my videos, because I don't just want to say things and it doesn't actually apply to some of the things y'all have experienced. Now, I'm going to start here. The reason I'm going to start here is because, well, she has Venus as her chart ruler. And Venus is how we make money, and it's our value and what we value. And so, in general, she's going to want to harmonize the different elements of her life. She wants to make sure they fit in based on, her own sense of comfort, of feeling that she's at one and she's, feeling harmonious in whatever she decides to do in her career. The other thing that's interesting is Venus can also show us what we get fulfillment in, right? We can be doing a job that it doesn't fulfill us, or it does, but your Venus sign can help you see what you actually will feel good doing, right? Whereas the moon is that driver. It's the thing that's pushing us. Now, the other reason I think Venus is interesting here is because her Venus, as the ruler of Libra, is in her 3rd house with the stellium, the super stellium, with the North Node. So Venus in her 3rd house means communicating with others is important to bring them peace, to be friendly. She has to speak to people and engage in them in order to give them some type of information. So already from this chart, I'm seeing that definitely information, whatever she does in career, because it's kind of vague, because she's kind of just like, well, what direction does she want to go in? She does work, again, I'm not going to say like where, what company, whatever, anything that. Right now she works with patients that deal with, that have substance abuse issues. So already I'm like, okay, Sagittarius wants people to see the light. Sagittarius energy is about moving people in a new direction in order for them to find truth and purpose. So these are people who are at a low point in their life, and this energy here is showing, even if she moves in different directions or she goes to a different career, she likely should stay, especially with this Cancer midheaven, in some type of field that helps others, that not just helps them. It's not just like a help them in a service way. She needs to help them in a humanitarian way. Okay. She also has Pluto in Libra. And so why might that be significant? So first of all, when she said she works, with substance abuse patients, I was like, okay, so a lot of times when you see people with that, you'll see heavy Scorpio energy somewhere in the chart. Now, she does not have any heavy Scorpio energy in the chart, but Pluto is at the 28th degree. That is really akin and close to Scorpio energy. So people who have Scorpio energy in their chart tend to be able to deal with more harsher topics, people that need more intensive help, therapy, things of that nature. So her not having, Scorpio in the chart is not a deterrent, because she has Scorpio on the cusp of the second house. And so we can look at that second house as how you make money. She does have to help people in some way. Another way we can look at that is the fact that she has Pisces on the cusp of the sixth house. Okay? And then she has, so what rules in Pisces? Neptune is in Sagittarius. So she has Neptune right there. So again, she's not just helping people through, she's not necessarily spirituality. Like I don't say in this chart she's gonna, now she could if she wants to. Anybody can do anything they want to. I don't tell people what they can or can't do. Neptune being in Sagittarius means helping them reach new heights, new lengths. We know Sagittarius is it's optimistic energy. Again, we know there's different sides of Sagittarius, right? We're talking about all this energy, the moon, Venus, she has Neptune, she has Uranus, she has Mars. She even has to undergo her own truth and understanding. So she should always be in a process of learning, always be in a process. The third house is that information systems, getting more information so that she could be the best that she is in her field. Her having this third house stellium definitely brings home this idea of really focusing on community and people around her. The third house is the house of neighbors. It is of where we are literally formed. It is where we have early socialization. Third house is siblings, cousins, things that are familiar to us is the third house, and we feel more comfortable communicating in that realm. But Sagittarius means she has to give something back or different to the people that she's around. And so I also think with this, her having Capricorn in the fourth house, Capricorn being an energy dealing with tradition, right? In some ways. I mean, she has Saturn in Capricorn as well, which is very significant. So the fact that she has this Capricorn energy here as well in the fourth house, third and fourth house are both our beginnings, right? Fourth home, right? Or homeland, right? Obviously our family, where we come from, nurturing, all that too. But if we're thinking big picture, again, I'm not focusing on that as much as I'm focusing on career and using this to kind of do a tutorial in a way. Right? So third house means she has to make a difference where she is from. Finding a need for people in her community, or, especially look at Sagittarius dealing with, this sweeping mutable fire need to change and to help and assist in a sweeping way. Sagittarius is like, this is the best thing for you type of energy, right? Sagittarius likes to take its wisdom and apply it to people. Okay? And so she needs to think about, what does she care about? What does she feel a connection to? What's her calling? And again, it's going to be something very familiar to her. The people that she likes to help, or who she knows she can reach. So having that moon there especially is like knowing who she can reach, and always being in a space where she's able to elevate herself in terms of being able to give more, and giving more in a way in which she is touching and reaching different types of people, especially with Uranus also being in third house. It's not going to be a very typical career, okay? She, even with Uranus being in third house, she's not a very typical person in terms of how she thinks. She likes to think outside the box, even no matter what she does, even if she does go into some type, continuing to work with caring for people who need help, who need, some type of hope in life. There's always going to be this kind of different way in which she approaches it. And all of this, as we can see here, we have some conjuncts definitely closely linked, all of this actually, to her North Node. So what's interesting is all of these degrees are very close to her North Node. Sometimes you'll see a person's chart and maybe they would have like, this would be at 7 degrees, this is at 12, this North Node is at 13, then all this other stuff is at like 28 or 27 or something like that. These are all closely conjunct, which means she's already likely in her purpose. Now, I'm not saying the job she's in right now is where she's going to be forever, but that field, or the feeling she gets when she helps people, it's probably already started. And she's probably inspired people from a very young age as well. Okay, I'm getting a kind of independent energy here, especially with Capricorn being in the fourth house. I don't want to go too much into the fourth house because this is not a reading about family, but typically, the sun in the fourth house is going to stand out among family, maybe be the very responsible one, hard, driven. This Capricorn stellium means there's hard work aspect, limited or restricted in some ways, perhaps in terms of wanting so much to achieve. Potentially, there's a person in the family who's very who is successful or who preaches a lot of success, who wants a lot of success, who's a very strong personality, perhaps, especially with Saturn being here, just kind of discipline, raised around discipline, or someone who was kind of like that person she aimed to be, or someone who kind of was that representative in some way. There might be someone she looks up to, but she feels pressure perhaps to achieve because someone else in the family either wants her to or has achieved as well. And so that could be some components dealing with career. Again, I'm not interpreting this based on how I would interpret a reading because it's not what this is for. This is a focus on the actual career. But her having Libra as the ascendant is going to help her with people feeling close enough to trust her to allow her to help them. When you are getting help from people, you have to make sure people feel comfortable talking to you. And Pluto is interesting here because we know that Pluto can be that very transformative, that very intense energy that a lot of us sometimes are like, it does seem like it's a bit much, right? But the interesting thing about Pluto is that her having Pluto, it gives a different level of control and the ability to adapt and change in order to bring things closer to harmony. All right. Pluto in Libra, it uses strength. It uses the ability to kind of consume something, right? To command something in a way, in a more subtle way than Mars. But it's the ability to bring something together in a powerful manner with the purpose of restoring a sense of peace and diplomacy. So she can handle those. She can handle counseling, therapy, guiding people when they're at their lowest point, giving them that hope, giving them that inspiration, giving them that truth. But also you have to know your own truth. And through a Moon in Sagittarius energy, perhaps she will know her own truth because Moon in Sagittarius is always inwardly searching. So before you help other people, what have you done? What work have you done on your own? Right? Lastly, what I want to say is because Sagittarius and Capricorn are very vastly different signs, but they are both big picture. Capricorn is the big goal. Sagittarius is the big meaning. What is the purpose of all of this energy? Now, she does have her midheaven is Cancer, which means, we're definitely thinking of she has to use her emotions in her work. Not all people do. There are people who don't leave their emotions at home and they go out into work and they face the world as whoever they are. So Cancer being on the midheaven, there's a stellium in the fourth house, and we already know that the fourth house has Cancer energy in it because it's ruled by the moon. Right? A career where she has to nurture or take care of something or someone, where she has to actually care. Where she actually has to care and use her emotions in her work to connect to people. All right? The moon in Sagittarius, the moon rules Cancer. The moon rules Cancer, but her moon is in Sagittarius. It's in the third house. So she has to help and speak to people. There's speaking also, with regards to this. Now, her Mercury, when we think of speaking, Mercury's in Capricorn. So it's also about her knowing her job, knowing the facts, knowing the procedures to things. So I definitely think a role where there's a certain procedure, a certain way things have to be done, but also she has to use her emotions in order to reach people. Right? So again, I'm not saying she's going to stay where she is forever, but if she is, or not is, but definitely moving up. I mean, Capricorn energy is always going to want to move up, right? In terms of career. Jupiter and Leo, she's going to meet people along the way who help her. She's also going to liven up people's lives. Probably has a positive demeanor. People like to be around her. Okay? That's helpful in making connections. All right. The midheaven being in the 10th house. Again, when the midheaven's in the 10th house, that usually shows the person does have to have some type of structure, some schooling or some mentoring or something along the way. They're building up towards the ladder. There is a structure to the career when we have the midheaven in the 10th house, where the 9th house might be more of a journey. Now, she does have Chiron in Cancer. I'm not going to go into details with all of that. But I think that Chiron and Cancer, if I was interpreting this as a reading, would definitely be, we would have to interpret this opposition that she has to her Capricorn energy, right? This is all these here. Her degrees are very close together in both of her stelliums. And so there's a direct energy. There's something she's going away from, perhaps going away from home for some reason. When you see Cancer moving in the opposite house, it's gone away. It's left the home for some reason. But there's still some lasting impact with Capricorn energy being this traditional hold, right? So there's still some type of respect for home, a respect for the hard work ethic, maybe even a respect for, where she came from. But there's also this need to go outward, right? But also healing and making sure we're not running away from certain emotions or problems, okay? And again, I'm not going to interpret all of that right now. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, and again, if this was an actual reading, I would go way more in depth with her as a client. Again, that's not the purpose of this, and I'm going to preserve some of the privacy, but I'm just helping some of you out there who might have that placement see what it could mean. And lastly, her having the Gemini there, the interesting thing is her having Gemini by itself, what I would interpret that is, remember, the South Node is the past self, the past life perhaps, and it gives clues to what we might have done in the past. And the interesting thing is, again, she has all this help here. Possibly she needs it based on something that happened in a past life. The reason I say that is because some people don't have any planets near their North Node, and they still actualize it. So when we look at the 9th house of journeys, and we look at the Gemini energy as curious, the learner, the young, spirited, curious person taking on the world, right? 9th house is travel. So maybe in the past life, rogue, went from place to place trying to gather things and learn things, but maybe didn't quite hunker down on her true purpose. Now, again, we're talking about past lives, we don't know, right? Her or him, we don't know, right? Unless you do, but you can know. You can, when you get a past life reading, you can definitely know the gender, perhaps. But right now, what I'm just saying is her as who she is right now. So, the South Node being there would indicate maybe she did these things, but she didn't quite have a purpose. She didn't feel a purpose. She had all these experiences, but when it came down to it, she couldn't really make a decision on anything. And now it's telling her to go back to the 3rd house, go back to where you're familiar, go back to where you're, near where you're from, or people that are familiar to you, going back into your community, going back to something you've already been to, and seeing the difference that you can make and the light that you can shine on others. Right? So that's it for this. I don't want this to be too long. This is not a reading. It is simply me pointing to you guys how we can interpret someone's purpose using, if they have this super stellium, all this energy together is working to really help her actualize her North Node. She needs help because perhaps in a past life, something went awry, something went wrong. And there is some concern with her coming back into, and again, if you don't believe in past lives, that's fine. You don't have to. You can totally still get a chart understanding without believing in past lives. But the point is, she needs help for some reason. She's here to make that difference, and she has more of a purpose, perhaps, to other people. This isn't just about her. The Sagittarius energy is never just about self. Even though Sagittarius can seem self-righteous, it's not a sign that's really about self as much as it's about trying to influence people. And when it's positively aspected and all this energy is kind of working together. Now, 7 degrees is kind of far from 22. But what I'm saying is, if you look here, all of these placements have a really close degree to that North Node. And so that North Node is getting fed. And that means she's probably been working through her North Node for a long time. A lot longer than some other people who have to kind of navigate it alone a little bit, right? And so that's how I would interpret this particular chart in terms of especially focus on the stellium here and what that might mean in particular to career, which is the conversation that me and her had in regards to what this means and how I could potentially use this as an example in one of my videos.